Thanks, Dave. Excellent set of insights on ESOPs. And guys, before we move on to the Venex session, I want to definitely mention that if you are implementing or would like to implement ESOPs, and because there are a lot of investor discussions that are involved, right? If you're choosing Dexter Capital as the investment banker, they will take care of all of this, right? So because it is complex, I still haven't got my handle around it. Need experts to implement something like ESOPs. So hats off to Dev and team for doing what they're doing. Thanks again. And with that, let me come to the Venex part. Guys, so basically, what I'll do is I'll give you a brief introduction. I have a slide deck, but while I log in onto the slide deck and share it, let me, with the context of what we've discussed on ESOPs, let me explain to you briefly, and then based on your queries, let me take you to respective slides in the deck, right? So that's how we'll structure it so that it's interactive. So what we will do is basically what we do. So in ESOPs, we've seen multiple problems right now, right? I mean, of course, it's a great tool to compensate employees, reward them, give them a sense of ownership, as well as conserve capital, because at times you're hiring people at lower than market salaries, or when you're giving them raise, you're giving them lower than market rates, right? So we all have to do that to conserve capital and to extend the capital runway that we have. At the same time, we have this challenge of building organizations' ownership, loyalty, productivity, and capital and organization are two pillars of success for any business, as well as they are the two areas of failure, right? So, if capital and organization are two important aspects of building a venture, what lies at their intersection is actually compensation models, because compensation models help define or play a huge role in defining the motivation levels of the organization, especially their trust on the founders and investors, and their loyalty and productivity get defined a lot by how not only the numbers and the math around it, but also how the founders are dealing with it, how the investors are dealing with communication, issues like what Devendra discussed in terms of delayed grant and stuff like that, and how that thing is handled and stuff like that, right? So compensation models and the related communication subtleties of that play a huge role in building trust, loyalty, and productivity, as well as compensation models play a huge role in defining the capital runway of the venture, because finally a bulk of that burn is defined by compensation models in terms of payroll as well as vendor fees, and of course ESOPs is a great tool to save that, right? But it is having multiple problems. For example, complexity, delayed grant. It is a rigid tool because there is a uniform policy. Therefore, it cannot be as agile as the world now needs it to be. It cannot be gamified with business milestones. It's like a pot of gold at the end of the runway. End of the rainbow, right? But it cannot be gamified very easily with short-term and mid-term business milestones. There are enough investor negotiations involved, and the whole thing, is too complex. While the objective from ESOPs is, as Devendra rightly said, is basically a commercial discussion, because we're saying that, hey, you should have some success or some upside based on the venture's success. That's what you're telling an employee, right? That we would be happy to have you partake in the success of the venture, right? Or in the and in the financial success of the venture. But the question now is, can that be done a lot more easily, a lot more inclusively, where more employees can be included, and with a lot more agility and gamification with business milestones? That's what Venex is broadly, right? Here, what we do is, in terms of the solution, rather than creating an ESOP pool, we help you create a revenue share pool and a funding share pool, because finally your payouts have to happen from any income that you're getting or any incoming cash that you're getting as the venture. That is revenue, and funding primarily. And if you're generating any, if you're getting any grant, etc., then that, right? Or any loans, right? So finally, from each of these or some of these, we help you create a pool to pay employees and even vendors or channel partners from that pool. So imagine a revenue share pool, a funding share pool, etc. How that pool is distributed among people depends upon various factors that you define within your organization. For example, it depends upon the effort or sweat the person is putting in, their individual performance, also their loyalty and longevity in the organization, right? So whatever are your parameters of defining the worth of a person, and it can be done for fixed pay, which is the fixed salary, as well as it can be done for variable pay or one-time bonuses, etc. In any scenario when you're paying cash or supposed to pay cash to an employee or a vendor or channel partner or service provider, be it revenue share, be it salary, be it bonus, in all of those scenarios, you have one alternative, which is sweat equity. Sometimes we have used sweat equity, and a lot of ventures used sweat equity to pay product development entities or any other kind of vendors, key partners. So wherever we have to pay cash, we have always used so far in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we've always used sweat equity or ESOPs as one alternative to that. Now, here we have another alternative, which is revenue shares and funding shares, right? So that's broadly the Venex solution. These revenue shares and funding shares are not paid to employees or vendors forever. They are paid up to the maximum sweat bonus kitty the person has built. So this is important. We limit the whole payout by the venture to something that we call as the sweat bonus pool of that person. So from your organizational level revenue share pool or funding share pool, or from revenue share pool and funding share pool, which is org level, let's say 10% of revenue, whatever, right? From that, each person in the organization is creating a sweat bonus pool by putting in their sweat and effort and by performing, right? And by showing their loyalty in terms of longevity, if you want to link it to loyalty as well, just like it happens in case of ESOPs, right? Based on these, the person is building on every month, he or she is building his sweat bonus pool, and basis that the payout is done based on the revenue milestones as well as funding milestones of the venture. And these are over a stretched out period. So the delay or deferment that happens in payout helps you conserve capital right now, as well as helps you build skin in the game of the team members so that they're waiting for those payouts to happen and they're driving those milestones because they know that once those milestones hit, then we will receive our sweat bonus pool, right? So it gamifies your business milestones. It conserves capital in the short term. It improves the skin in the game and ownership or sense of ownership of your team members. They, of course, because these are delayed and deferred payouts, they get an upside. So if suppose you're using it for a pay cut, right? If the pay cut is 100 rupees, they may get 200 rupees as the sweat bonus, but over a period of 2 to 3 or 4 years, right? So it's like 100 to 400% ROI that we recommend in this model over a period of 2 to 4 years. So another important aspect is that as an employee of a startup, if somebody is earning decent, right? I mean, and a lot of Series A funded ventures pay a good sum to their mid-management level and senior employees. And a lot of people are now investing into mutual funds or into external stock market. That's a high growth industry. And when employees invest into mutual funds as a SIP or a systematic investment plan, then it is actually investment happening from their tax paid dollars, right? In this case, because they are subscribing to the sweat bonus model of Venex for their employee, for their employer, for their company, they get paid lesser fixed pay, and pre-tax dollars are invested into their own company, which are giving them 100 to 400% return. So it's, it becomes very comfortable to sell it to employees. If we actually compare this with returns from mutual funds, which are usually 15-20% CAGR on an annual basis, instead of that, they're getting 100 to 400% return over 2 to 4 years, depending upon your, of a good high growth trajectory of a good startup, right? And of course, there is a risk of growth not being as fast as envisaged. In that case, the payouts of sweat bonus automatically, without any further communication needed, get stretched out to a longer period. So it's elastic payment model in that sense. So that's another kind of benefit of this, is that the payments automatically get stretched out to a longer period if your growth trajectory for some reason is not going as fast as envisaged, or your funding is not arriving, next round of funding is not arriving as fast as envisaged, or lesser funding is arriving than envisaged, right? In all those scenarios, the payments get stretched out automatically to a longer period of time, and that's the risk your employee is taking, and that's why you're giving them 100 to 400% ROI on their pay cut or their investment they are making into the venture. If they have already taken a pay cut into the venture, a lot of people have taken, and of course we had some questions related to that they were promised ESOPs, but because of delayed grant, there is a heartburn. There is a, more than heartburn, it's a loss of trust, right? I have been there, and on both the sides, and it does create that feeling that, hey, I've already been here for 1 or 2 years now, right? And now if my grant is happening, investing is going to start now, then you're breaking your promise of what you made to me at the time of joining, right? So in such scenarios, again, Venex becomes a tool to compensate in that, for the risk already taken by the employees, as well as for the lower than market salary that they're working at right now. So I think that's a brief introduction. It is highly disruptive in the manner that we are implementing it as well. There is a very structured system of processes around it that we are building, as we are implementing with each and every, with baby steps that we're taking with our initial portfolio ventures. We're building a complete system of processes around it. In phase 1, this will be high touch and low tech. So you will see, if you're implementing this in your venture, you will see a lot of us and FaceTime with us in terms of helping you implement it, as well as even talking to your employees and vendors about it. You will see a lot of that. We want it to be high touch and low tech in the beginning. And then in phase 2, we intend to create a SaaS platform around it. We are already kind of, we've started designing it, but all of this will be then supported as a SaaS platform online, so that you will be able to do, and your employees will be able to have self-serve tools, dashboard for management, dashboard for employees, and all those things will be implemented, and the entire workflow would be in, in an automated manner. Once we have also understood the processes fully we are also, as we speak, we are kind of, implementing this and trying to do our best in terms of how to build a proper system of processes around this. So I think with that, I'll end this brief introduction, and based on your queries, I will open up the slide deck and take you to respective slides about it and try and answer your questions.
Hi Avinash, thanks for the intro to the alternative that you're trying to create. So have you experimented this or piloted this with any organization yet?
Yeah, so I would like to show a slide for that. Give me 1 second, Sonam. Thanks for that question. Just allow me, half a minute to just open because somehow my Mac completely, shut down automatically, and then that black screen came.
Uh-huh.
Give me 1 second. I'm joining it from my laptop and we'll open the deck now. All right, I'll present my screen now and then answer your question. Can you guys hear me? Sonam, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
All right. So Sonam, let me explain this one. So we have, yes, we have 3 portfolio ventures. We call these, we call our clients as portfolio ventures, Sonam, because this is a risk reward model for their employees as well as service providers. And we also bring in service providers if they need, who are risk friendly service providers, with something that we've built as Venix League. So on the service provider side, we call these league members. And on the venture side, we call these as portfolio ventures, because while we and our service providers don't invest our capital, or there is no cash investment that is made into the venture, but we do invest our sweat in the venture, and we also link our success to the venture success from Venix. So therefore, we call these as portfolio ventures. We have 3 right now: Honey, Rezo.ai, and IDCube, who have signed up. Honey is a consumer brand enabled by deep tech and IoT. Senior entrepreneur from IIT Kharagpur, and within 3 to 6 months, within 3 to 4 months of their launch, they were doing already generating decent amount of revenue, almost like a P-Series A venture. Rezo.ai is an enterprise tech venture. They're automating customer conversations across chat, email, and voice. Again, senior entrepreneurs and revenue generating for about 2 years now. Large consumer-facing enterprises use them for automating customer conversations across chat, email, and voice. IDCube is an older venture, about 15 years actually. They just completed 15 years in December. And they provide identity and access control solutions. And now they are leveraging us, and they provide this across 15 countries, and they're leveraging us for their further growth, as well as rewarding their existing team members. And they're now going in the cloud way, so they're leveraging us for in the Venix model to do that. That's broadly the answer, Sonam. Although, disclaimer is that we are at an early stage of implementing. These are baby steps that we've started taking with these 3 ventures. We are just a 5-month-old venture ourselves, right? So we are at a very early stage. In these 5 months, we have onboarded 40 plus league members, as in service providers who are risk friendly, as well as these 3 portfolio ventures. We are taking baby steps, and what we are doing is, in terms of we want to build like 5 case studies, Sonam. We are looking for 4th and 5th ventures, and for these 5, we have waived off completely our retainership fee, or the fixed fee, and we will only be charging success-based fee based on the success of the Venix model, which we will define. I'll come to the commercial slide whenever there is a question around that. But we are looking for 2 more ventures with whom there is a mutual alignment, and then we want to kind of build these case studies and then take it forward.
Okay, so my intent behind asking this was that if you could share some example of how these companies have utilized the model, whether like it is a replacement to ESOP that they have considered, or is it a complementary system? Because like probably not everyone in the company also agrees to taking ESOPs. So can this be utilized as an alternative for those people who don't want to sign up to the ESOP scheme, but it could be an alternative reward system or a bonus system that could be utilized? So if you could share some examples of how these companies have adopted the system, and what type of team members they are rewarding through through the system, that would help with the understanding better.
All right, Sonam, that's again a great question. Absolutely, there are multiple applications of the Venex model, and each of these ventures, and there is there are a couple of more actually conversations that are happening where they're kind of at the feasibility stage of discussing. So we cannot disclose their names as yet, but based on those learnings with new ventures as well as with these ventures, let me share the response to your question. So first of all, there are three stakeholders that these we have added. We didn't have this understanding ourselves until we spoke to these ventures in more detail, right? So we started with only employees, started only with service providers. Then we went to employees actually, and then we went to channel partners. But by these conversations, so what these conversations are happening is that there are three primary stakeholders that we've defined. Employees, of course, including founding team members, not promoters, but founding team members. Then there are external team members like advisors, extended team, service providers, product development companies, any other vendors, digital marketing agencies, right? Vendors who are not bringing revenue, but they are helping you execute, right? And then third, there are channel partners who are helping bring revenue to the venture, right? Depending upon your business model, if you have channel partners. So for employees, people are, the ventures are looking at this as a hiring tool, first of all, to hire quality talent in a capital efficient manner. And they are partly replacing cash and partly also replacing ESOPs or equity. If they have not yet implemented ESOPs or equity, they're considering to go completely with the Venex model instead of going for an ESOP or equity model. If they have a ESOP pool that they have created, then what they're doing is, for senior guys, they're looking at giving some shares as well, because senior guys value, senior team members, senior leaders value some kind of ownership in terms of shares as well. But largely, they're looking at Venex as a more gamified tool for hiring high quality talent. What has also happened, one use case interestingly here, let me come to the second one and then tell you the dichotomy between these two. The other use case they're considering is that, if there has been a scenario of a pay cut, either because of COVID or because the person hired at lower than market salary, right? So then to reward those individuals, because here this reward does not need to be paid from the current expenses, right? Because the whole thing is about borrowing money from future revenue milestones and funding milestones. So building their skin in the game and driving them towards those milestones, especially if they have scenarios where the people are saying that pay cut ho gaya, now we need our salaries back, right, and stuff like that. So there's been a scenario like that we are helping solve. Also, in lieu of raise, there is a venture which is saying that, hey, I need to give an increment now, but can I give an increment partly in Venex model, partly in cash? So again, it is partly replacing cash and partly replacing. Also, oftentimes we've seen that ESOPs are given out as appraisals, right? That based on performance or based on the annual appraisal, you'll get extra ESOPs as well. That also happens, although less ventures do that. But this becomes an alternative to that as well. But more importantly, it becomes an alternative to cash raise. So if you're planning to give a 1 lakh rupee raise to somebody, rather than giving that, you could give a 50,000 rupee raise and give remaining in the form of Venex, which builds a sense of ownership for him or her. So that's another use case that a venture is discussing. Also, if you have one-time bonuses or variable pay that you want to pay out, right? Sometimes it could be that fixed में कम नहीं करना है, fixed में जो है वही है, but the bonus or variable pay can be given in the form of Venex rather than at the end of the year, because at the end of the year it's still hitting your cash flow for the current financial year, your P&L for the current financial year. But in case of Venex, you're stretching it out to further years, right? So that is another use case for employees. For advisors, service providers, similar broadly, but for example, if there is a minimum guarantee, then if there is a negotiation happening on increasing that minimum guarantee with a vendor or a service provider, this could be a tool for that. could be a tool for reducing their current fees and pay, building their skin in the game. Because here, because there is no equity involved, it becomes open and inclusive for even your extended teams and team members. So tool for negotiations in deeper partnerships. If they have a higher slab pay based on a certain metric, then this could be for the higher slab. That's another way to implement it, similar to bonus for employees. Channel partners is interesting again, because channel partners are driving revenue for the business, right? Or partly driving revenue for the business. Here you could use this, and if they have specially other options, you could use this as in other entities, competing entities that they work with as well, because the external entities, they would not be perhaps exclusive to you. You could beat competition by giving them a sense of giving them a revenue share or funding share from your milestones, but limited to their performance, right? So it's a great combination of limiting it and linking it to their performance, at the same time paying it out based on the venture's revenue and funding. So I think those are the use cases, Sonam. Thanks for asking this question. I don't know if I've been able to answer that.
No, I understood the use cases. I'm not sure if the time allows, but would also want to understand the model itself, like how it gets
Yes,
implemented, and how do you like break down these sort of, like, I'm considering all of these transactions at some level. So how do you break down these transactions and link
Yeah.
it to different milestones? And if you have the portfolio companies that you shared, apart from uh, like transactions related to employee compensation, apart from that, have there been other use cases where they have been able to implement it, as in, or rather I'd say, gain acceptance from channel partners or from vendors?
Oh yes. So let me answer that question first. So yes, they are implementing it for service providers and channel partners. In case of channel partners, they're not going for, at least we've not seen a case where they're going for reducing their revenue share right now, because that could directly impact their revenue, right? If somebody was getting 20% revenue share, but now you say, I'll give you 10% right now, but remaining I'll give you, later. But in lieu of the remaining, I'll give you 20% more. So you'll have a total of 30% revenue share, but right now only 10%. That could perhaps have a negative impact on current revenues. So they're not doing that. But what they're doing is, whenever there's a negotiation for increasing that revenue share, because the competition is spoiling the market by giving them a higher share, a lot of highly funded ventures do that, try and spoil the market. And then ventures which are in the growth phase are left with no choice but to either match up or lose that business, right? In such scenarios, they're using, we are in discussion with an entity which is using Venex to reward the channel partners on top of what they are giving right now, to be able to fend off competition, because there is a heavy competition in that space.
So let's take a live example here. Say we are working with an agency who does some software development for us, and it would require a month of work. And generally, for that kind of work, they would charge 20 lakh rupees. Just giving
Yes.
an example. But and we find that that's on the higher side. We do like their work, but we would be able to pay, say, 10 lakh in cash, and we want to figure out the remaining 10 lakhs in the next model. So how does this work here?
Yes, absolutely. Great. So let's look at this. Maybe this slide. No, actually, sorry. Let's look at this slide. Yeah, this one. Okay. So you said that they, let's say, quoted 20 lakh, and they are good. You like them, and you want to pay them, instead of 20, you want to pay them 10 lakh in cash, because that's your perhaps budget, etc. And right. So let's say this 20 lakh was 100 or 100%. Therefore, the 10 lakh is 50%, right? So in this case, what you could offer to them is that they will take a 50% kind of investment into your venture, which means
20 lakh is their notional, notional. Suppose you agreed on 20 lakh. Suppose they had quoted 25 lakh and you guys agreed on 20 lakh, right? As their notional market worth for what they are doing, right? So, so what you would do is you would give them a fixed compensation of 10 lakh, which is the 50%, right? So let's speak in 150 so that it's visible now in
Yeah,
front
that's
of us, right? So instead of 100, you'll give them a fixed compensation of 50. So their notional risk or investment in the venture is 50. And here I have mentioned SIP for monthly, for the case of employees, for example, right, where there is a monthly SIP happening. But in their case, it's perhaps a one-time investment of 50. What happens is that their total compensation in this example is recommended to be 2x because they're taking an x by 2 risk, as in, so we recommend their total compensation to be 2x, which is where x is 100. So total is 200. Now 50 you have paid to them now, as in, as per the regular schedule of payment, right? Which may have some advance and some at the end of the delivery and all that, right?
Yeah.
The remaining 150 is being paid out linked to your revenue milestones. So you would define these and we will help you define these through your cash flow model. So for doing this, we have to kind of do a simulation based on your cash flow projections and based on your cash flow history. Basis that, we help you define the right revenue share for eventually paying out 150 rupees. In this example, if the project is, let's say, for 1 year, so for 1 year, they are investing in the venture. The dotted red line is the expense line pre-Venex. The solid red line is the expense line post-Venex. So obviously, the post-Venex expense is lesser in the first 12 months. But after the project is over, it's not that the payouts of sweat bonus start after the project is over. They start earlier with your monthly and quarterly revenue milestones. But the revenue shares are defined in a manner that those are a fraction of the risk they are taking. So they're taking a risk of 50. Maybe in the first year, they will only get about 5 or 10 rupees back. But getting those monthly or quarterly makes it more gamified and they have some confidence in the system working. And that builds trust and they continue to remain committed to the project. But these sweat bonus payouts, as your revenue increases, these sweat bonus payouts start increasing. After 12 months, the project stops. So they're not accruing any sweat bonus or any fixed fee. But the payout continues to happen to them for the next about 2 years in this example. And the 150 rupees are paid out in these, in the next 2 years. Are you able to see my cursor moving as well?
Yeah,
Suman?
yeah.
Right. So this 150 rupees is, if you take out the principal, their notional investment of 50 rupees, the remaining 100 is actually an ROI of 200% that you're giving to them over a period of 2 years, but linked to your revenue milestones. On top of that, you may give them a funding linked bonus additional. In this example, we recommend another 100 rupees, which is another 200% ROI on the principal invested, because principal यहाँ पे आ गया था 150 में principal they had already got back. उसके in addition to that they had earned 100 rupees. In addition to that, you give them another 100 rupees of bonus funding link based on your next 1 or 2 funding milestones. So if you've defined funding share percentage for them as 0.1%, for example, or 0.5%, whatever it is, if it doesn't get paid out in the next funding event, then it will get paid out over the next few funding events, next 1 or 2 or 3 funding events. And total ROI in this example becomes 400% because their risk was high, 50% risk. If they take a lesser risk, the next slide, of let's say 10% only, suppose they quoted 25 lakh, you agreed on 20 lakh as their market value, or internally you thought that yes, 20 is what we want to pay them if we had to pay them in cash. And then suppose they're only taking a 2 lakh rupees cut on that, which is like, they're stretching, 20 is already stretched for them. They're saying 18 lakh we can do, but not more than that. If you give us the Venex, ROI. So in that case, their ROI will be lesser. The ROI will be limited to 100% in this, 100% in the absence of funding. And along with funding, it could become a 200% ROI.
Got it.
So that's the yeah. Thanks again for that question, Sonam. Yeah. I hope everybody is benefiting from every question helps everybody else. Um, just a quick time check. We have now come to 1:30. We are slightly beyond time. I am available in case somebody wants to continue and ask questions and others want to hang around and listen in. I am available right now. Completely up to you guys. We can do another session or whatever, for whatever we've missed in case you are, and of course we can connect one-on-one as well in case you want to connect one-on-one to before we move on to the next question. I just want to
How is this a 400% ROI?
how is this a 400% ROI?
Yeah. Can you go back to the 50% comparison slide?
Yeah, right. That was Mitesh.
Yeah.
Hi, Mitesh. Yeah. Just one thing for people who may have to go. I'll come back to your question, Mitesh. For people who may have to go, the next steps is that those who are interested in understanding more or implementing this in your venture. The first step is, of course, an expression of interest. You could do that over WhatsApp, DM to me, or something like that. Even the calendar invite those who have received has my in case you're not part of the group that we have created, if you've come from outside of that group, then my calendar invite would have my mobile number and the WhatsApp email ID. You could express your interest through that. After that, we do a custom simulation based on your past history of revenues as and or future projections, depending upon the stage of your venture. So we could do a backdated simulation or a projected simulation. After which we share our commercial proposal, because it is based on your simulated. We also assess the level of impact we may have, and basis that we give you a success-based proposal from Venex on the commercials. Based on your confirmation, which can come over email, then we go into executing the Venex agreement. In the case if you're not part of the group of ventures where we have waived off the fixed fee, in case there is a fixed fee involved or a retainership fee involved, then there will be maybe a advanced component of that. After advanced component, the implementation will start. There is an implementation journey that we have as we said, that we're building a system of processes around it. There are 6 stages in implementation. First is feasibility study with your, after simulation and the commercials, feasibility study with your existing team members and partners. If you need some of this before committing to us, then we can help you do that as well to some extent. Of course, not in a very extensive manner, but we will help you address any queries or concerns that you have or your team members may have before you decide to kind of implement it. Then building the custom cash flow enabled, so Venex enabled cash flow model for the venture, helping you close the deals with your team members and partners. You're at the forefront, we are at the back end, but if you need us to come in conversations with them, we would be happy to do that in this phase 1 of high touch and low tech. Also, there is a lot of expert help that we have already taken in terms of legalities around this, taxation around this, compliance risks that are there, disclosure, what goes in balance sheet, what goes in P&L, what goes in employment contract and stuff like that. So all of that templates we are creating one by one, and we will help you with all the documentation related to it. Of course, you and your experts, your legal teams will be able to review them and make changes to it, but we will provide you with necessary templates. There is also, the entire monitoring and payouts are, powered by us, where we provide you regular MIS on capital conserved on a monthly basis, regular MIS on future liability that is building up, and when to make payments or payouts of sweat bonuses against that future liability, which is linked to your revenue and funding milestones. So the entire process, we help you implement it. And of course, the continuous evolution of the model, because adoption will not be, especially when it comes to new pay cut that somebody has to take as an existing employee, or make a systematic investment in the venture. adoption will be, we expect that the adoption will start at a lower percentage of employees. But what is important is that they keep receiving monthly and quarterly returns on a consistent basis, and basis that a proper communication or proactive communication is done to the remaining employees, and based on word of mouth, greater adoption happens organization wide. But if it is done in this manner, then there is a huge benefit financially. I would be happy to explain this one-on-one or in another session for the lack of time right now. But it conserves capital as well as accelerates your revenue growth by reinvesting the conserved capital or some of that into your accelerated growth, right? So by conserving capital as well as accelerating growth, you are able to prepone your break even or extend your runway, and thereby put the pressure off the next round of funding, and do that at a good valuation and without being in a hurry of runway being ending. A lot of ventures unfortunately fail because of running out of cash. This addresses that problem as well, partly. So with that, I'll end this and come to Mitesh's question. For those who want to continue, please continue. And for those who are leaving, would look forward to connect offline if you are interested in taking this into your venture, your company.